go back to protect my family, and they were kidnapped. The terrorists entered our house, and they kidnapped my wife and my 3 kids, along with they broke through our door, and at gunpoint they made my wife give them the car keys, and they shoved them inside the car, and they drove off with them to Gaza. We know overall there were hundreds of them fighting us, some of them fighting the first response group, and some of them were slaughtering families.
Hello and welcome. I am Pranay Upadhyay and you are watching India Today Global. With the Gaza peace plan in place, the Hamas hostage crisis has finally ended. The 2-year-long ordeal for many families and in fact the society of Israel has finally ended. Though there are still some remaining part of it because the mortal remains of many hostages are still to be returned. But I am being joined by today Avihai Brodutch, who has suffered in this crisis, and he's here with us to share the horrific stories what Israel has gone through on 7th of October 2023, because he faced the Hamas terrorist on that attack, and in fact his family got hostage by them. So Avihai, what you can share with us? How did it happen? What were you doing at that point of time, and how did it unroll?
Well, thank you for having me, your show. Feel very lucky to be here. I live in Kfar Aza, which is a small settlement just on the border with the Gaza Strip. On that day, we were just about to celebrate my daughter's birthday. She was just about to turn 10. But we woke up at 6:30 to a very large bombardment and missile fire of our kibbutz. And as part of the first response group in the kibbutz, in the settlement, it's a very small village that we live in, and we have a small group that's supposed to fend off attackers if such thing happens when they attack. But this time it was very, very big. We had between 200 and 350 terrorists attacking.
That's a huge number.
Village. It's a huge number, and we are only 14, and our weapons are held in the armory in the center of the kibbutz. So I had to run there unarmed. And just as I was about to leave my house, I saw a little girl. Her name is Abigail. Both her mom and dad were killed just at the beginning of the morning.
Just in your exact neighborhood?
Yes, just almost next door, a few houses from me. And she ran away very bravely to save herself to my house. And I picked her up and I gave her to my wife. And I went to the armory to get my gun so I can fend off the attackers. During the fight, I was wounded and I couldn't go back to protect my family. And they were kidnapped. The terrorists entered our house and they kidnapped my wife and my 3 kids, along with the little girl, Abigail, who both her mom and dad were killed on that day.
So they took hostage around 4 people from your place, because Abigail was also there and your wife, your 3 children were there.
Exactly. So my wife and my 3 kids and Abigail, they actually took them at gunpoint. They broke through our door, and at gunpoint they made my wife give them the car keys, and they shoved them inside the car, and they drove off with them to Gaza, while the rest of the terrorists kept on slaughtering us in the kibbutz. And I was there wounded, trying to fight to fend off the attackers.
So how many attackers you took on at that point of time?
I think it was, tens of them were coming at us. And I think overall there were hundreds. We know overall there were hundreds of them fighting us. Some of them fighting the first response group, and some of them were slaughtering families.
Avihai, when you returned home and when you found that your family is not there, your neighbor is not there, your kids are not there, what was the first thought you had in your mind?
Well, I didn't even get to return home because after a few hours of fighting, I was taken outside and was actually taken to a helicopter pad along with the wounded, and I was flown off to the hospital. And the last message I got from my wife was that the attackers, the terrorists, are coming inside, and I got no more messages.
So she messaged you?
She messaged me, and I thought, and I messaged back and I got no reply, and I thought that they were all slaughtered. And when I arrived at the hospital, a nurse asked me, she handed me her phone and asked me if I wanted to call my family, and I told her, I have no family, they're all gone. And only the day after, I got news from my neighbor that saw the terrorists through his window. He saw them taking my family away, and he called me up and he said, Avihai, I saw the terrorists walking away with your family, so they might be alive. And from that moment on, I had the belief that they're alive and that I have to do everything I could to get them back.
And at that point, you were already in hospital.
That's
when you
right.
got this message.
I was waiting for surgery. I was badly wounded on that day. That's right.
So you told me just a while ago that you got sharp nails of RPG.
That's right.
So how much time did it take for you to recover from that thing? And I'm sure you must be very worried about your family till the time you didn't have any information that how are they, where are they being kept? How did you look for information? Did you get information from the government or various other sources that where your family is being kept?
Well, in the first few days, we had no information. Every time we got news that more and more bodies were being found inside the kibbutz and on the outskirts of the kibbutz, and I was always very, very afraid that they're going to find my kids.
If I'm not wrong, Kfar Aza is the place which was among the worst hit places of this attack.
That's right. Kfar Aza was hit really, really badly, and I always thought, I was very afraid that they were going to find bodies of my family. But I'm very privileged and very lucky. On that day that I got news, it took about 2 or 3 weeks for the intelligence to come in that my family are kidnapped, and they were spotted inside Gaza. And the news that my family are actually kidnapped was the best news I ever got up until that moment, that they're alive and there's still a chance to get them back. And I went and I made it well known among Israel and among the world that there are kidnapped families over there with mothers and children.
Avihai, I saw some of your pictures that you went up to the Israeli Ministry of Defense protesting, asking for some kind of hostage exchange. You fought those attackers, you fought those terrorists, and still you wanted a swap or exchange. What was going through your mind at that time that you wanted your family back, but your country was already fighting that organization which is controlling that population, that Gaza Strip?
We live in this conflict. My whole life, I've lived through a conflict, and I always believed in peace. I thought, that a conflict should end, and I thought that it's a good point for us to make peace. I think that both sides understood that it's not the solution. I thought the Palestinian people know that terrorism is not the solution, and I think that Hamas did a terrible, terrible thing, and I think that the Palestinian people in Gaza, they knew that, and I thought it was time to go for a resolution and maybe start to make peace. I'm very happy to say, President Trump came to Israel a few days ago. And he started a very, very important and big thing in West Asia. And that's to bring peace to West Asia and maybe to other places in the world. I really hope this peace is going to spread around. And we got our final 20 live hostages back. And we're still waiting for the rest. We need the rest of the families so they have something they can bury. And they can go to a cemetery and mourn their dead. And we still have to keep on fighting to get those people back. Even though they're not alive, they're still somebody's son and somebody's dad. And this is all we think about. We had 2 hostages that were brought back to my kibbutz a few days ago. Gali and Zivi Berman. And the kibbutz is celebrating. It's celebrating, but it's still mourning all the dead, which is terrible. You know, it's Israel is a country.
You're one of the sufferers of this hostage crisis. And I'm sure you must be interacting with those who are still waiting for the return of these hostages. And they came after over 2 years. That is a long period.
It's a very long period. And all we do in our village, in the kibbutz, is talk about the same day over and over again. And I think now that Gali and Zivi are back, we can start the healing process. I think everybody in the kibbutz is feeling this. We can even start thinking about going back now to our village and to continue to go back to our community. Now we are spread around, it was a war zone up until a few days ago. And, because of President Trump, that did really, I think, I can't think of anyone that did such a brave thing for the Israeli people, at least in recent years. And we really start to see hope now in Israel. Everybody's feeling it. If you walk the streets anywhere, you can feel the hope. And I really, really think and hope that it's going to happen, that we're going to start a process with our neighbors, with our enemies. I think mothers on both sides want to see their kids grow up.
Absolutely. And everyone wants their families to be safe. But coming back to your story, Avihai, how did you get this information that they will be returning back? And share us something more about those moments. Where you were in hospital, when did you come back to your place? How long did you have to wait to get the confirmation that your family is going to return?
It's it's a great story. It's got its ups and downs, but I held vigil in front of the defense ministry in Tel Aviv, and this is when it all started. And people started to realize that there are hostages there alive, and they need to return. I went to Washington and I went around the world and talked to people I could have never imagined that I would ever talk to. And after, I let everybody know that there are women and children and there are hostages that were taken from their beds. And after 49 days, there was a deal, an agreement with Hamas to bring back the mothers and the children, to begin with the mothers and the children. And day by day it went on, and Hamas had this huge reality show. Every day we had to wait for a list. I had to wait for a list to see if my family was on it, if I'm going to get them back. I thought they were dead 49 days before. First day I got a phone call telling me they're not on the list, and I didn't even know if they were really alive. And the second day I got a phone and told me they're not on the list.
Not on the list.
But the third day I got a phone, 2 a.m. in the morning, and I was waiting for this phone call. And my connection to the army, she called me and she didn't even say anything, and I knew that it was the day. And she said, Avihai, they're going to come back. And I couldn't fall asleep, obviously.
Obviously.
I got up from my bed. I tried to fall asleep, but I couldn't. I called all my friends and I said, we're going to the village. We're going to Kfar Aza. And we drove over there. And, I just opened the drawers and everything, and I put everything in the car. I wanted them to feel at home when they come back. And
you stuffed your car with the goods, with the things.
Exactly. And I had to wait for them in Schneider Hospital. They all arrived in Schneider Hospital, which is a children's hospital in the center of Israel. And I waited for them over there, and they got out. And I was waiting for a phone call from my wife, and she didn't call. And
how old are your kids?
My eldest is now 12. She was 10 she just turned 10 when all this happened. And today she's 12. My middle son is 10, and my youngest is 6 today. So it's
8 and 4. So like 10, 8 and 4.
That's correct. That's when they were kidnapped. That's yeah.
It is very difficult. Like, adults have different way of healing, but like kids at time they can't express themselves very well. Do you still talk about those days of them being in captivity, or you don't talk in your family on the dining table, or like
it's our life. We talk about it all the time, every day. I lost.
What did they share with you?
They remember the names of the terrorists. So it's names of people you meet in the street. People of names. So every time they hear an Arabic name, it reminds them. It's not necessarily in a bad way. It's just something you live through.
But certain things do leave permanent scars. So these are the emotional scars that people suffer.
Definitely. If you hear a noise, if a car passes by, then we jump. If there's food on the table that smells like something there, which would remind them. If it's smoke coming from somewhere or noise coming in, they would startle. They do that up until today. It's always over there. And of course, whenever we meet people from the kibbutz, we have a lot of orphans.
What stories you have picked, Akhel, that how they were kept there, what they were fed? Did the family, your wife, your children share those stories with you? If you can share with us.
Well, when they arrived, when they returned, they had all lost a lot of weight. They were very thin and pale. They were clothed with no sun in the dark. So they were all very pale. They didn't have to say anything. You could see it on them, but they did share everything. We give them time, but whenever they talk, they were starved. They all had a piece of bread to eat every day and a bottle of water for all of them a day. It was very, very difficult. They were full of lice when they came back. And, I remember when they came back to Schneider Hospital, I asked the team, that brilliant team that took care of us, to comb their hair for the lice, to have a lice comb. And I remember combing my girl's hair, and she was asking me who's alive in the kibbutz. And she said, is Avi alive? And I said, no, Avi died. And is Roy alive? And Roy died. So, and we lived through this every day about these people that had died.
So they were kept in some kind of a tunnel or some kind of a cellar?
They were kept in apartments. They were moved.
And they kept moving them?
They kept moving them between apartments. That's right. At gunpoint, They just dressed my wife up so they couldn't recognize her. And just, shove them in the car and drive them off to a new location and a new apartment. And they were always held at gunpoint, and this is their mother.
So she was dressed like an Arabic outfit.
That's correct. Yes.
Nobody can identify her that she's a hostage.
And she had to take care of her children during all this
time. That's the point I wanted to ask you. That it's very difficult to, these are young kids, how to calm them, how to keep them it's very difficult to handle, kids in such situation because they don't even know what is going on. As an adult, we are differently trained or experienced, but these are the young kids. How did she handle those kids? And how she kept them, calm at that point of time?
It was very difficult. And thinking of it, there was a girl that's new to the family, and she saw her mom and dad being shot.
Yes.
And Hagar, she's the same age as Uriah. And there are 2 kids.
Your daughter.
And they fight all the time. And Uriah wants his mom. And Abigail wants her mom, but her mom was shot in front of her eyes. And Hagar has to take care of her, and she has to take more care of her because she lost her parents. And my kids, as bad as they are, they have their mom with them. So she had to take care of Abigail, but there's envy. And Uriah was envious of Hagar. And this is all being in captivity,
Mm.
locked in a room.
Mm.
It's terrible, it's a really terrible thing. And they
Mm.
talk about it a lot, especially Hagar,
Mm.
the kids, I think they grow up and, they're kids, they get over things.
Mm.
But I think it's very difficult for my wife, and we live through this. And, but we're very, very lucky to have support of everybody around us. We are very, very privileged and lucky.
Definitely, you are among those fortunate who got their loved one back, and that to be, within 49 days. This is a short period of time as compared to those who have suffered for over 2 years. After having your family back, did you guys also go to other people in the kibbutz, talk to them, console them? And did you also go to Tel Aviv at the hostage square when people went there to express their solidarity and to express their emotions and feeling?
Of course, in the beginning, the first few days when they returned, we wanted everybody else to return. So we didn't stop. We went to Hostage Square. My daughter, my eldest, would go with the pictures of the ones still there in captivity. And we would go and we would protest and we would show the world, that these people are still over there. But as time goes by, the family, needed me. And they needed each other. And it was very, very hard to keep on going in this fight while we are falling apart as a family,
Yes.
And this terrible, terrible thing that has happened to us, we needed to heal. So as time went by, we had to separate between keeping on the fight and between keeping ourselves together. And this is what we've been through for these past 2 years, is keeping ourselves together and still fighting to get the rest of them back. And, we got all the live ones back, which is incredible. But we still keep on going, to get the remains of the ones that had been kidnapped on that terrible day. And we're still fighting, but we got all this hope now. And I really, really think that we're going to solve this in the coming days or, maybe weeks, but it's going to be solved. And I think, Israel and West Asia is going to start a new era.
Avihai, for decades, the world is waiting for some kind of solution to end of this conflict, especially in that region, in West Asia region, especially the Israel-Palestine crisis. What actually transpired in your mind, or in last 2 years when you watch, the world was divided. Certain people who were with the cause of Israel, there are a certain section of people, those who were supporting that, they were asking, Israel to stop these operations. And, the world debated and discussed the ordeal being faced by the people in Gaza as well. You mentioned about mothers across that line, mothers in Israel, mothers in Gaza, or in Palestine, West Bank area. Everyone wants their families safe. Everyone wants their loved one to be around, and nobody wants a war. What went to your mind at that point of time? Because that was a very traumatic thing to see those visuals as well. The kind of destruction, the kind of debris. So what did you think at that point of time?
As a person that suffered because of this terrible ordeal and this terrible conflict, it's just terrible thing, seeing war. I think all people in their right minds would oppose all this destruction and all this hate. But, as humans, you could see it throughout the years. It's a very sad thing to say, but it's part of an ordeal that humankind has always gone through before, having a resolution. And, apparently, as human beings, we have to go through a conflict in order to have a resolution, to have a proper solution to such a conflict, such a huge ordeal. And, the Israeli-Palestinian, I don't want to say conflict because I don't want to see it as a conflict. I want to see it as something that can be solved. And I really, really believe that now we are in a time, and this is thanks to President Trump again, which is, I think, is a huge person. And I really, really hope that's why I'm also here in India. India is a great nation with a great leadership. And I think with the help of leaders around the world, we can start solving the situation in West Asia. And I really feel it being here. I walk the streets.
What makes you believe that now is the time that this is finally going to end? Do you have this feeling that this Gaza peace plan can bring a permanent settlement or a permanent peace in that region?
All I can have is my hope and my wishes. And I think that we have started something that could lead us to a proper solution. I really feel that it's coming. I feel the world is with us. I think the world wants this. I think the world wants to see us live properly without the fear of terrorists coming into my village and slaughtering my family. I think the world knows that this shouldn't be. And this is the time, to do this.
Did you ever think of moving out of Kfar Aza after your family returned? Because normally families tend to talk about these things, that after suffering, such a horrific event, families tend to move out from that place. Did you ever think about it? Did you ever discuss with your family any possibility?
The thing about Israel, you look at it on the map.
Yes.
It's tiny. Especially, we come here to India and you see the map and it's huge and it's beautiful and huge. And Israel, you move a little bit aside and you're in a desert, and another place, there's nowhere to go. You move a little west, you're in the sea, and you move a little east and you're in Jordan. So it's not a solution for us. There's no way to go. We have to be there. And that's why we have to solve the situation. And I think as Israelis, as Jews, we know deep down inside that this is where we should be. And this is what's keeping us there. And our only solution is peace. This is what we're going for.
Finally, if you can share with us that how, as a father and as a husband, you are healing your family. How you and your wife heal your child, how you have healed your, what do you talk to them and heal their wounds, the emotional trauma they have suffered? What has changed in the Brodutch family?
A lot has changed. Our surroundings have changed. The people we live with have changed. But we are so lucky to have so many people around us supporting us. And my job is, to keep all these people supporting us. And I feel it's a little bit of my duty to do this for Israel. And not only for my family. We have social workers with us and we have psychologists with us. And we have just regular people. If I walk the streets and a lot of people recognize me back home, they give me a hug and they ask me about my family. And if they recognize my daughter, they would do the same. And it's just, Israel is a brilliant place and you feel it everywhere. So even if I don't do my job correctly, someone will do it for me in Israel. We're like a huge, big family and it's incredible.
Absolutely, Avihai. And this is what we say in India, that there is a concept called Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, as in the world is a family. And if one person or one member of the family is suffering, this is a duty of other people, other members of the family, to take care of that and let them heal. Thank you very much for joining us on the show and sharing your stories. And we sincerely hope that finally this conflict would come to an end after so much of suffering across the line of control or line of division between Gaza and Israel, between West Bank and Israel. And finally, people across the continent has at least one right to live peacefully and take care of their families.